I hope you're having an amazing day. My name is Colin, and in this video we're going to have another look at Magiccraft. There have been quite a substantial amount of updates, some interesting price movement as well the last couple of weeks, and we're going to have a look why that's happening, what the opportunity is for Magiccraft in the longer term, take into consideration all the relative indicators. So of course, from that initial TGE, it did really well, right? So the sales price in the public was 0.06, so on the launch it basically did extremely well. Then there was a significant pump. As you can see, the returns on the TGE were tremendous, huge sell-off, slow bear market progression, little upcycle. I recall this was the NFT sale that went quite well. And then if we look at the last week or so, there has been some significant price impact. So the move basically here literally doubled at 100% return. There was some selling pressure again going down, but it's holding quite stable at half a cent-ish. Market cap 10 million. Fully diluted percentage still 47 million, so there's only 22% circulating supply, meaning there's quite a lot of tokens still to be unlocked. We'll have a look at that in a second, because that is quite important to get a proper grasp on where these things might go. 500,000 in volume, that's quite decent. Most of that is coming from Huobi, and then we have Bitmart, CoinTiger, and then PancakeSwap. Bybit is a little bit less, but they did have a trading competition not too long ago. So Huobi pushing definitely most of the volume there together with Bitmart. So overall, the project has been releasing quite some updates. So if you follow their Twitter or their Discord, there have been interesting announcements ongoingly, which is for a project building throughout the bear, definitely a good indicator. They are well engaged, consistently pushing announcements, and they have some gameplay video that I will show as well. So the new roadmap, which we'll go over in a second, will cover the Web3 system full release, in-game voice chat, NFT rental system, which is obviously quite interesting, and the NFTs map integration. Then there's a lot of different in-game focused elements, and the marketplace is live as well. We'll have a look at that in a second as well. So if you go to the website, that's basically the main website, and then you have the marketplace. So if we go through the main website, there's an overview on the gameplay. This is the game trailer. I want to focus on the roadmap first, what is ahead. So they have two components here. This one obviously quite broad. 2023 a lot more detailed. So in this quarter, player profile screens, custom game rooms, all right, a lot of internal utility of the game, and then we have a lot of NFT stuff coming, new map, new characters, all right, interesting, new game modules, and then basically it's quite repetitive down that line, but so far it looks decent. I just want to show this specifically. All right, this has voice on it. That's not ideal. I would love to have a look at it without the voice being active. There we go. So this is basically some gameplay video. I assume this is a alpha or beta testing that's going on. Yeah, it looks like a simple game, right? If this is indeed alpha footage, then I assume it's going to be quite a bit more polished. I've seen more polished videos than this, but you can definitely see they have a map. People can run around, respawn, battle with each other. A little bit of a RuneScape character feel to it, a little bit more high-tech than the nostalgic RuneScape style, but definitely not amazing quality in terms of graphics or whatever. It just appears to be a fun, simple to play game. You have your skill abilities right there. But they've been posting a lot on their Twitter in terms of the footage, the gameplay, etc. So you can definitely check that out, what that looks like. Full rotator here. But the idea of the game is definitely easy to grasp in terms of how it works. If you go to the marketplace, check out the opportunities. There is some decent volume, right? Things are at least being traded, you know, maybe a couple trades a day that's going on. This one sold for $1,000, $1,000, $100. Recently sold $100, $100. Now the minting is still open, which is quite interesting. So if you go to the minting page, you can choose from different characters, as is because on the Binance Smart Chain, you have quite some options in what you can choose. and they haven't reached the full supply yet, so they still have about a little bit less than half the supply left. And you can choose different characters. Then the staking here is available for the long-term lockups, offering some insane APYs. But in terms of short-term, I think they did quite well, keeping the APR quite low, but still 90% for 1 year, probably just because they want to get that dilution going. And then you can stake your NFTs as well, in addition to the Magiccraft token attached to that. So for the actual price movement, I want to have a new look at the Track Digits Alpha platform, because I have some interesting information right here. So the next release is going to be February 21st, 19 days from the recording of this video, and there are different categories that are going to be released. So the private sale will be released. It's about $400,000. So that is 72% of the current daily trading volume, which means it's unlikely, as an indicator, and it's just my opinion, that the market would be able to absorb that volume, right? That's only the private. So the private will obviously, with a 20% ROI, maybe sell, maybe not sell. The ROI is not that significant, but taking into consideration the amount of time they had to wait, you might see some traction there. Then staking is going to unlock some tokens. The team is going to get a lot of tokens, right? Almost $900,000 worth. The advisors are going to get a huge chunk of tokens. The total release is 1.9 million. Then when you check the later releases, it's basically staking in the ecosystem that receives most of the tokens, and you're going more towards the dilution of the market cap. If you look at the overall vesting, you can see we are now about here, right? About here. So then as soon as maybe there's 2 more periods left, and then you have a slow linear upward trend for the next couple of years. So the most of the release pressure has already been taking place, and that's quite a big indicator. So after the release on February 21st, although there's still a lot more coins to be diluted, they have been locked for a very, very long time. So there will not be a significant amount of pressure. So this is definitely 4 to 5 times, well, 5 times almost as much tokens every month being released compared to what it is going to be going forward. That's why the trend is not as straight, or, you know, like this, what's it called, high. It's going to be more horizontal of a slow release. So that's definitely a good indicator right there to note. When we look at the price movement, one of my favorite features here, you can basically see that on average, we can see that when the token is going to vest, which is on the 0 hour, right here in the middle. So you have some people selling right before, and this is the average among the 3 measured periods. But as soon as the token claim occurs, there's significant more sales going to happen, and then after 48 hours it recovers a little bit. But basically 48 hours in, there's on average the biggest pressure. So even on this one, which was in November, quite a long time ago, there was still significant dumping going on. So circling back as an indicator, right, because this tool is obviously just giving you indications and cannot foresee the future, that specific private section here with the positive return, with the pressure on the market that it has, I see no reason why that pattern would not be consistent, and basically we would see a similar approach here. Slowly downward trend when the tokens are about to be released, 24 hours in advance, 48 hours in advance. And then as soon as those tokens are being released, basically measured on the day, right? 6 hours later, 12 hours later, 24 hours later, you'll see some significant more pressure coming through the market. Might be interesting, you know, to short those tokens if on a centralized exchange, if you're one of the investors, to either dump as soon as possible, or if that's not possible, to maybe hold them and wait for the next period, maybe 72 hours before the next period starts. As you can see, the averages are a lot more in your favor than going straight after the sale and trying to dump your tokens. On the tokenomics, it's quite clear that the staking 60 months, right, 5 years, then liquidity and the reserve is a large amount of tokens, ecosystem and team significant amounts, but this is coming to an end, and the ecosystem is basically going to continue. Then I had one very important overview that I wanted to show. So the Track Digits platform has just gone live. There's a sign up link in the description if you're interested. There's about 250 tokens in there that you can browse. But I was looking for the top holders, which I think is interesting. So this is one address holding almost 4 million tokens in US dollars, about 8.3% of the supply. I ran this wallet through the BSC scan, and it's basically I only looked at the first 2 pages, hasn't sold any tokens, but I assume this is going to be the team wallet that's receiving a lot of tokens. Important to consider, because when these guys starting to sell off, they have a huge majority. Then I assume all these other wallets that have more than 0.5%, those are the advisors, right? Because they also took a big chunk, or maybe significant seed investors. But the most interesting component here, which I believe, is there's such a big discrepancy between the number 1 and the number 30. So the number 1 is almost $4 million, and the number 30 is 25. So the spread is really not significant. We're talking about maybe 5 wallets controlling the majority of the supply, and then the third wallet only 0.05. So there's definitely a significant amount of risk, I would say, in terms of the holders of this token, because the distribution is not as equal, or there are not that many wallets holding significant amounts. And again, if we're looking for indicators relative to the tokenomics investing, what this project is doing, so I would say yes, from a point of view of community development, progression, I think they're doing really well compared to other games in the market. They're navigating this bear market quite good, and it's a huge KOL influencer team ultimately, right? But what I can say is I'm quite impressed about the quality that they keep delivering in terms of the game, the announcement, the engagement that they have with the community. That seems to be going quite well, all quite professional. So that's really good. Then looking at it from an investor point of view, it's not looking as attractive, this project. So if you get your vesting released, I can only speak for myself obviously, then if I get my tokens, I would definitely dump them. I'll take the 20%. I will not diamond hand this, because there's still so many tokens that are going to be entering the market at a later stage. Would I be interested in buying Magiccraft right now? No, because all the indicators point that at any moment the team, the advisors, the distribution, like I mentioned, it's just not looking as favorable. So if you're not willing to take the 20% of your private sale, you want to wait for better days, then yeah, do take that into consideration. Might be a great deal. I think this project will do really well in the next bull run, but hundreds, if not thousands of projects will do really well. Everybody can do well in the bull market, of course. They've been trending lately, they've been tweeting about it. I like it, right? Looks quite good. Some good progression. It's also important to sustain market hype, right? So you don't basically see these waves that would occur over and over again, because although it pumped quite some times, even on a 1-year chart, it did pump significantly here, it also went down. Yes, we're in a bear market, but to sustain the price as a project is even more important. And either I would filter out these wallets if they're company wallets on this overview, or I would just not show this if it shows such a discrepancy in the reporting of the top holders. Maybe they're trying to motivate people to get more, to get on the leaderboard or whatever. I like the idea, but I don't think the execution is right here. And I think, there are a couple of indicators to take into consideration. So there's this month, the vesting is significant, right? It's $2 million in value. Very heavy supply shock here. Investors are going to likely take profit on this, I would assume. Then for the next ones, it's a lot less aggressive. It's only 1/4 of the amount of tokens. Then on the vesting, we can also see this, right? But on the tokenomics, you can definitely see that the team has a huge percentage, and advisors is higher than normal, right? Which is important to consider. A lot of tokens are being pushed to the ecosystem. What that means, probably development of some sort. Then the pattern on claims, it's basically straight dump. People always dump their tokens that come from the vesting. Less significant 3 days before, but definitely 1 day before the release, on the release, and then 72 hours after, we see significant dumping. This is a good indicator here from November. Although everything was green, as soon as the tokens were released, there was still some sales pressure on the market, as you can see right there. So that is definitely a good recap. Yes, the project is doing well. Yes, they're doing something quite interesting. Would I be interested getting back into Magiccraft at the moment? I don't think so. I'll be following the project up until the next bull run to see how they perform. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.